Last time on Local Perspectives.
I just realized we have to invite a special guest on the scene. We
Yes, we
could not
do.
we could not interview
Special guest.
we could not interview Jolie without interviewing and picking the brain of Sam Wright.
Hi.
What's up, Sam?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. I
Having me.
Yeah, definitely. It's been really nice getting to know you at the performances and things as well. Um, you've been so supportive of Jolie, especially from like the business side of things, which is not always the fun side of, being an entertainer, but it's important, in this day and age we have to like have like that business minded side of things. How did the two of you meet initially?
Um, sure. We had some mutual friends. We didn't go to the same school, but we had some friends from church and things like that. So that's kind of how it
We were
started.
like, well, we originally met when we were like 14, but we didn't like pursue each other then. Um, we weren't really friends either. We just like met and that was it. But then like when we were 16, I don't know. We just I he wanted to go like on a date and he thought it was a friend date and I was totally thought it was like a date. And so we went on this date actually in St. Augustine. We went to the fort and got ice cream and pizza time, all the typical St. Augustine stuff, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
That's really cute how like it's like, is this a friend date or a date date?
I just thought she was, I have always been really into music, and she was. That was when she was doing, the studio time in high school and things like that, and I thought it was really neat. So I just wanted to, I don't know, get to know her, but I didn't think she would like me. I just I thought we would hit it off as friends,
He always
maybe.
says that. I'm like,
So I didn't have the
like,
highest expectations for what would happen, but it ended up being a date.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
both.
she said the rest is history.
Yeah, I love like you both have such a like meek, humble spirit. That's so sweet. You're not like, oh, of course she's gonna want me. No, you're not.
and then
Totally.
he says that. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what is like?
That's sweet. No, but you two are such a like beautiful young couple. I love to see the way you interact, and you still go on your nice dates around town and your beach days and things, and like time with your dog. It's really sweet.
Do our best.
Yeah. So you described your quintessential St. Augustine day and involved the fort. So let's fast forward to your wedding because I think it's so amazing that you were married literally in a castle. Like you
Yeah.
go up North A1A in Volano Beach and there's Castle Otis and you ended up getting married in a castle. Like how much more romantic does it get? What was it like to be married in a castle?
That was so cool. Like, I was looking for other venues. And I wanted to keep it pretty inexpensive because I don't know. I didn't want to blow all of our money on a wedding. And I was actually one of the cheaper options, surprisingly. And the guy who lives there and built it, Rusty, he was so nice. Like right away, we like hit it off, and he doesn't let everyone do like weddings there, but he liked us thankfully. So it was so cool. I felt like it was like a true St. Augustine wedding for me. Like if I could have had, it felt like I was like on the St. Augustine fort. Like it was really cool.
Yeah.
I
You
loved
had this like little prophetic date at the fort that led to the castle wedding. That's pretty cool.
it. Yeah, I thought
Um,
about that. Yeah. That's funny.
it's expensive to get married here, so it's great to get a find like that where it's like really picturesque but not gonna break the bank either.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So Sam, Jolie and I we talked a little bit about like the insecurity piece of like the teenage years, and I mean to be honest, like even as an adult, we still deal with insecurity, right?
For sure.
But you share some pretty profound statements and different content on your stories from time to time, and I'm always like, they're always very thought provoking. They kind of make me stop and think, which I like because a lot of times like we're scrolling and scrolling mindlessly, but then sometimes you come across things and you're like, ooh, wow, that was good. For example, a while back, I actually kind of like took a screenshot of it because I wanted to ask you about it. There was an image of like a person slowly morphing into a butterfly, basically, and the accompanying caption said, "Become the version of yourself that you needed to find when you felt lost." And oh, I love that so much. Like there's so much like I can say about that. But why did that resonate with you? Why do you think it's important to become
Um,
that?
well, I guess just for like, so the artist who made that, Matthew Zaremba, um, it sounds, it's spelled how it sounds. I really like his Instagram page, and I don't know how I stumbled across it, um, but I did like years ago, and he's always posting like these images, and they're always thought provoking, and he describes them as just kind of um, what's the expression, like just like stream of consciousness. That's right.
Mhm.
That he just that he's thinking about life and his relationships, and there's a lot of themes about mental health and things like that, um, that he kind of just dumps into his artwork. And so yeah, I've always found them very thought provoking, like you said, and this one in particular, um, you know, it says become the version of yourself you wanted to find when you were lost. I think especially when you're young and you're trying to figure yourself out, you're trying to figure life out. Sometimes you don't always know what you want from it or what you want from yourself. It's easy to feel lost. And, I think we all spend some time feeling lost. And it resonated with me because me in particular, when I feel that way, when I feel a little lost like that, I have like an image of myself of what I want to be, and an expectation that I want to live up to for myself. And so it's almost like that's what I'm looking for when I'm feeling lost. But then when I come out of that and I feel a little more on top of things, or like a little more in tune with myself and happier with myself, then sometimes I lose sight of that image that I was striving towards, because it's easy to settle, I think, for for okay,
Hmm.
versus great. And so yeah, that's why it spoke to me, is because I want to keep I want to become that version of myself that I was looking for when I was feeling down on myself.
Hmm.
And just because I'm not feeling down on myself like that doesn't mean I shouldn't still be striving to be the best I possibly can be.
Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, there's so much uh, that can be said about that. Yeah, because we're always like on this trajectory. We're always trying to grow. Um, the reason that that really resonated with me, very much in a similar vein, is just how there's an expression that it takes a village to raise a child, right? Um, and because family dynamics can vary so much, for me personally, it definitely took a village. I had a lot of, my family, I'm so grateful for my upbringing. Like the way I was brought up has illuminated these opportunities for me much later in life that, you know, I couldn't have anticipated at the time. And yet I still needed and thrived on having like a lot of mentors that were not related to me, like big brother figures and like father type figures who, for example, like studied the Bible with me, and just exposed me to like camping and like being an outdoorsy type of person, just all kinds of things. So now that I'm an adult, like I'm a full-fledged adult, even though I don't take myself that seriously, I suddenly find myself, this is like over the last probably 10 or so years, um, I've had people come into my life who needed exactly what it is that I needed when I was coming up. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, me, that kid that used to be like in tears and like, going through stuff and crying on like random people's shoulders, like now you want me to be that person for so and so. Like it's really humbling, but I've really embraced it, and I feel like this is kind of what I found my niche maybe, just in the sense that I have some younger friends in my life right now who are willing to come to me with some really heavy, like intense things. And not that I'm like an expert by any means, but it feels really, really full circle and rewarding to be able to just be a listener, to listen, to try to say the right thing, and to just like send resources their way. And that kind of like I guess paying it forward, like I was given a lot and now I'm in a position to kind of use the tools that I've been given and some of like the emotional intelligence to just kind of be a nurturer and encourager, and like it's just great. So
Yeah.
I'm really glad you posted that.
Yeah.
I think
You know,
it's something.
and what you're saying too almost ties back to what you guys were talking about earlier with her song, Strong, just that theme of kind of coming out of something and going through something for the, for the purpose
Yeah.
of growth, personal growth and experience. And then, like you said, being able to pass that on to others is invaluable.
Yeah, like you were raised by the village and now you are the village kind of thing.
You're part of
Um,
the village.
Part of the village, good. Yeah, because it definitely, yeah, it takes, there's like all different influences and viewpoints, which are really helpful.
Hmm.
But Sam, you recently kind of like came out of like one chapter and are now in a new one in life as far as you're graduating from UF recently,
Right.
which is pretty amazing. What what are you hoping to accomplish in this chapter of your life with that degree behind you now?
It's a great question. So, growing up, I was always, education was always emphasized in my household and in my family. Um, and my mom in particular, I mean, my dad was one of the first, I don't want to misstate anything, but I think he was the first of his siblings to get a degree. My mother she immigrated from Spain, and so she um, also, growing up, didn't have the opportunity to go to school out there, and so she actually just went back to school here and finished her degree here. But anyway, they both always growing up really emphasized the importance of education, and I've always tried to succeed in school. And in high school, I did the international baccalaureate program at Nice High School, and it kicked my butt a little bit, but it was like I felt like it was worth it because it prepared me for college.
Hmm.
And so I don't know, even coming out of high school and early on in our relationship, um, she started playing gigs, and I became a really big part of that. And when we got married and all of that, it was like obviously income that was out, not just that was ours.
Not just
And
mine.
so it felt like we were working hard. We were both part of this operation, and it was going well. So parts of me really did not want to finish school because I felt like we were doing well, and there's, you know, I feel like she has a high ceiling, and there's a lot of potential to grow and to do more and be more successful. But that, I always heard my parents in the back of my head, like go to school and get a degree. So I stuck with it, and I just finished at UF. Even though the whole time, you know, honestly, it felt like kind of more of a fallback or like a backup plan, just something to have in my back pocket if she ever decides she wanted to stop singing, or I felt like I needed to go get a real job. But I'm happy to have it, and I did learn things along the way that have um, helped me in what I do on my side of things. So it's definitely worth it, and I'm glad to be done. As far as what's next, I mean, for me, I just think now I have a lot more time to put towards Jolie and her music, and I felt like for the last few years I've always been I've had one foot in one thing and the other foot in the other,
Hmm.
Now I feel like I can devote all of my time and energy to music and seeing where we can take that.
Yeah, it's so nice to see the level of support that exists between the two of you. It's really that's really sweet. What did you study when you were at UF?
I was a business major, so I graduated with a a bachelor's in business administration, and then that was my major, and then my minor was mass communications and PR.
Okay. Yeah, so that uh, business side of things again,
Yeah.
navigating that trickier part, that'll probably come in handy. And I'm sure it has already. I didn't know that your mom was from Spain. Have you been able to visit Spain?
Yeah, we growing up, I went, you know, once every like 5 years or so.
Hmm.
I went when I was really, really young, and then again when I was like 7 or 8, and then again when I was a teenager. And yeah, I mean, most of her family is all out there still, so
Hmm.
we try to go back now whenever we can. And it's, I mean, it's lovely. It's funny because it's just by chance that we ended up in St. Augustine, but it really is like a lot like Spain. I mean,
Hmm.
she she recently moved out of state, but she loved it here because it just reminded her so much of home.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, we are really blessed to have a little slice of Europe here because
Yeah.
I literally feel like I'm on vacation every time I go downtown.
Uh-huh.
I
It
know,
just
right?
never wears off.
Yeah.
Um, which part of Spain mostly was your mom living in back then?
She is from Malaga, so just right on the south coast on the Mediterranean Sea. So a lot like St.
I know
Augustine.
it's seen.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And like, thank you for helping us to know how to pronounce that name, the street name, that like takes you right into the main
Yeah, there
Oh
you
regular.
yeah, yeah.
go.
I've cycled through a few different pronunciations of of that street.
I I honestly didn't realize until we moved like downtown
Hmm.
that whole strip of um like if you go down like I mean you have a ton of streets that are named after Spanish cities.
Hmm.
It's cool.
Yeah, hmm, totally. Um, so one more question, and this might make you blush. Speaking of a flame kissing the cheek, but there's a song that I wanted to ask you about. It's called 365 Days that Jolie was so kind and sweet to write for you. It's like a song about you and to you. Um, did you get to hear it in private before she started performing it?
Yeah, I think I think the first time I heard it was she wrote it kind of as a gift, right? For our anniversary, I think. So yeah, that was the first time I heard it. She gave me a private concert and it yeah, it was really sweet.
That's really sweet. So how did it feel then, like maybe to the first time you saw her perform it live, like in front of an audience?
Um it's cool. It's always like to be honest, I I put Jolie on such a pedestal that sometimes I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome in my own relationship just because I just think she's really great. And so, when we're at a show and there's a ton of people around and I'm trying not to talk myself down too much because I don't I need to be better about that. But I just I feel like I feel really fortunate to be the person who that song is about.
Hmm.
But I'm really glad that, and I hope that it's a song that a lot of people can relate to in their relationships. And I mean, it's a love song. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I always am a little embarrassed, but it's like a good embarrassed.
Yeah, yeah.
I just, yeah,
He always hates when I like point him out at the show. It's like that guy over there hiding behind the table.
Yeah.
I
And
love
obviously Jolie very much feels the same way about you. That is just so endearing though. I get what you're saying. Because it's a slippery slope, isn't it? It's really easy to like believe the nice things that are said about us and to us, and then before long it could get to a point where we become this person that then starts to think too much of ourselves. So
Mhm.
I can sympathize with that, trying to strike that balance where you don't want to be like self-deprecating, but you also don't want to be so much of yourself that it's like a turnoff.
Right.
But yeah, I think that that says a lot. I can just see you two having decades and decades ahead of you. You're both so
So
kind to each other. But I am so thrilled that I got to borrow the both of you for a little while, and um, I love how our conversation just very organically weaved in very signature St. Augustine type of things,
yeah, sure.
places and connections and the music scene. So, Jolie and Sam, I can't wait to see you guys again sometime soon. Hopefully at Casa Divino or Colonial Oak Park sometime soon.
That's a wrap on episode 8. I'm grateful for both Jolie and Sam's willingness to share their stories. Be sure to say hello if you run into them at an upcoming gig. Jolie performs regularly at various Old City venues. Thanks as always for watching. Take care, friends. Until next time.
Would you believe me if I said